In this podcast, I go over what's going on with my health and announce I will be taking a break from doing a politics show for a while. And instead, my topics are going to be more life or culture related. And that's true. But I also need to let you know that I will most likely not do another podcast for a few weeks here because I'm going to take a full break in order to focus on my health. Thank you, all fans of the show, for sticking around, especially to my elite squad who have been there through everything, supporting the show and encouraging me. It's very motivating to know you're all out there and enjoy my content. When I come back, I hope I will be better than ever with more energy and able to bring you even more interesting guests and topics. Stay tuned. Thanks.
You're hanging out in the House of Sunny podcast, where it's always sunny, mostly because of your host, comedian and YouTuber, Sunny Lohman. Want to know what Sunny and her friends are thinking about this week? Well, here she is, Sunny Lohman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the House of Sunny podcast. It's been 2 weeks since we've had an episode. I'm here with Sidekick Doug, as usual, from The Rational Capitalist. What's up, Doug?
Hello.
I have been not doing podcasts for a couple of reasons. I think number one, I did get sick and I ended up in the hospital for a week, which I'll get into. But also, I think last week, I'm like, there's nothing interesting that I want to talk about. And in the news anyway. But also I was still dealing with some health stuff. It turns out when you are sick and in the hospital, other things, the world keeps going. And when you get out, you are really busy catching up with all the things that are falling apart because you weren't managing them. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was just really busy. And so here we are doing just a quick...
So you're saying don't get sick and go to the hospital.
Don't get sick and, yeah. Okay. Hey, it's good advice.
Good pro tip.
So I don't know how much, sometimes when I talk about my health, I feel like I'm that 80-year-old lady who is talking and nobody really cares. You know what I mean?
I've met that lady many times.
Yeah, we have all met that lady. And so I don't really know how deep to go with this, but I'm getting a lot of messages asking me how I'm doing, hoping I'm well and everything, because I know a lot of you knew that I did go into the hospital. And so, I have this autoimmune disease. Everybody knows that. And for the last couple of years, I've just been struggling to get into remission with medication. And unfortunately, getting the right to take these medications, finding a way to get them cheaply or for free, because a lot of times my insurance just won't cover them, or they won't cover them in the proper dose. Everything just takes months and months and months. And so this is really dragged on and it's super annoying. But I deal with that every day. I've been dealing with that for a couple of years. But then something new happened. And it was so weird because I wasn't alarmed. I just, I had this weird feeling where I couldn't really breathe. And oops, that's my phone ringing. Sorry about that. Just a little bit, almost like you have a little chest cold, just a little tightness in there and you can't really get a full breath into your lungs. I thought I had some congestion, but I didn't have a cough. So I go in there thinking I'm going to spend a really annoying day in the ER. And I get there and in my blood, they find this enzyme that suggests that my heart is stressed.
Ooh.
And so at that point, everybody's, now you're getting admitted. Nobody's letting you go anywhere. And you're hooked up to everything. And you're just they're just whoa, what's happening to her? And you're scheduled for all of these tests because they have to figure out, is your heart okay? And spoiler alert, it's fine. My heart is fine. But I had to go through that. They had to check me in. I had to sit in that hospital for a week. Actually, I kind of convinced them to let me out midweek. And then the next day I went back in because I was home and I was having these symptoms and I got scared because that's scary.
Yeah, cardio puts you to the front of the line
I
every
mean,
time.
yeah, and in your own psychology, like I've been sick for a couple of years, and back in 2012, I got really sick and I almost died in the hospital. But I only knew I almost died like in hindsight. At the time, I was like, "Woohoo!" But um, but that wasn't, that's kind of like a gradual death, you know. But the
Yeah.
idea that you could just suddenly die is really scary. That was just a whole level of sick that was really freaking me out. And so, I kept failing all these tests. Like they give you the first they give you the stress test, failed. Okay, then I guess we better do an echocardiogram, which is like an ultrasound of your heart. Huh, her heart looks good. No problem. Let's give her a stress echo. Failed.
Then
Well,
they had you find Syria on a world map, public education, fail.
that's right. I was failing everything. So they have to do like an angiogram to go in there and just look. Like definitively, we're gonna rule out heart disease. And so they went in and ruled out heart disease. Like I didn't have a blockage or absolutely clear arteries, which I should for my age.
Yeah, when you're 80, it should be crystal clear.
Well, I mean, yeah, thanks. I'm not that old yet. So anyway, it's just that I have this like weird condition and it's probably related to all the medications that I've been on and maybe even, I've been on a lot of prednisone, which just does a lot of damage, and then prednisone withdrawal does some damage. So my arteries are spasming and they're just kind of doing it for no reason. So it's like an imbalance in my stress hormones potentially. And when your arteries spasm, your heart kind of skips and you can be short of breath and feel that tightness in your chest, which is why I went to the doctor. I had no idea that it was serious. But anyway, so I'm okay, but I do have to figure out what this is, what's causing it, how to get rid of it. The funny thing is, if you look it up, everybody, it's very simple. You have this, you're 500 pounds, you're a smoker, and you sit on the couch all day. And so the cure is diet, exercise, and quitting smoking. So like for me, it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I don't have any of those things. And I don't know, I have to see. So I have just endless parade of labs and doctors and shit happening. And I still have my underlying condition and I'm totally overwhelmed because what I don't think healthy people understand is that you have to be your own doctor these days. I think you know this, Doug.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just walk into a hospital or make an appointment with a doctor and expect them to figure it out for you. It's kind of the sad state of medicine today.
Yeah, there's no one who sort of holistically looks at your situation and says, let me take into account all the things that are going on and come up with a diagnosis. It's like, well, is your heart a problem? We'll go to the cardio guy. Well, that's not a problem. So then you go to this guy. Then you start over with this guy, and then you start over with this guy.
Right.
If you even get to those people.
Yeah, and the perfect demonstration of how stupid these people are, that, modern medicine is or can be. I get checked into this hospital with possible cardiac issues. And so immediately they prescribe me a statin, an aspirin, a blood pressure medication. Like all of a sudden they're throwing meds at me. They don't know what the cause is. They don't know what's wrong with me. And they're throwing all these, and statins in particular, they're very, very big drugs. Like they have huge side effects, really nasty side effects like fuzzy headedness, memory issues, impotence, or like no libido. If you're, I guess girls, for girls, it's no libido.
Did they know your underlying condition before they were giving you those medications?
Sure. And that's the other thing too. Like I'm not really supposed to take aspirin, but I took it because I'm like, shit, I'd rather harm the other thing a little bit in order to not have a heart attack. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So I took the aspirin. I refused the statin because statins are not an emergency drug. They
No,
don't
that's a
work
long
right
term.
away. It's a long-term thing.
Right.
What they do is lower your LDLs. By the way,
Hmm.
my LDLs are low. They're perfect.
Yeah,
They're
so you don't need
perfect.
statins.
So I don't need a
That's
statin. And they're throwing a statin at me. I'm like, no, that's not right. You don't even know what's wrong with me. You haven't even tested my cholesterol. And you're going to give me a statin, which is a long-term drug. It's not an emergency drug.
right.
But this is what the protocol, this is their checklist, and they're just going down their checklist. Give the heart patient a statin.
Jesus.
So that's what modern medicine is. And if you follow it, you end up on a fucking statin, not able to think because your brain is addled and you can't get it up for your wife because you're taking a drug and they don't even tell you these side effects. They just give you this stuff. And by the way, in my chart now, so I got my chart records after I got out, and it says uncooperative patient.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's in your chart, man.
Yeah. They labeled me an uncooperative because I wouldn't take the statin.
Wow.
So you get labeled. You get labeled by these guys.
So if we had the Chinese surveillance system now,
Oh, I'd lose
you'd
some
be in
credits.
big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to travel for 5 months.
couldn't go to the circus. There's a lot of things you probably wouldn't.
Can you
be able
believe that? That they actually had that label in there? It makes me want to sue them
Yeah.
for slander or something. Because your stupid doctor prescribed me a statin and I said no. You're going to call me uncooperative? When
Yeah.
it makes no sense that you gave me that drug. And
Yeah.
by the way, now that I have no heart disease and they know it, they took it off the list. So it was a drug they eventually admitted that I don't need.
So you would
And
have taken a statin, which works in the long run for like a day.
yeah.
Smart.
And then the other thing is the aspirin actually makes the artery seizing worse.
Oh boy.
So the aspirin they gave me was contraindicated for my eventual condition. So this is the
jeez.
kind of crap you're dealing with. You're not dealing with, and you're not a doctor. You don't know this stuff. And with my autoimmune disease, I've gotten pretty smart. I feel pretty confident when I'm dealing with doctors. But with this new thing, I didn't know anything. But with my experience being a sick person, I know how scary it is to rely on people, that that are supposed to know what they're talking about, and they'll almost kill you every time. That is not a joke.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Unless you're straightforward, they will almost kill you. So I'm just super cautious. I don't like taking stuff without really giving it some thought, running it by another doctor maybe. And so, yeah, that's a really stressful experience. And I'm still in the mode of trying to solve the cause. Or, how do I get better without taking these drugs they want me to take? They want me to take drugs that will kind of like relax my arteries. And I tried one of them last Monday and it gave me a migraine. And it's like, so I won't be taking that one again. So now they have to find something else. It's just, these drugs are all nasty, I don't want to take any of them. So I'm just going to quit smoking.
Well,
If only
you
I
should try and
smoked,
get
then I
under
could quit
500
smoking.
pounds.
I know, right? I guess I
Stop
should
watching
lose
TV.
300 pounds.
The irony is there is someone who's 500 pounds who's smoking and eating a bucket of chicken, watching TV, who's just
Who's
fine.
healthy
right
as fuck. Who's got no health problems.
now. There's a
Bastard.
guy on TLC, like there's TV shows about these people. They're fine,
Yeah. Yeah, they're fine. I don't know how I landed on one of these shows the other day, but it was this fat woman and her fat son, and she's healthy and her son is not. He's like early 20s, dying because he's so fat and he's just got all these problems. And she's fat, so they have this lifestyle at home, So she's killing her son.
Yeah, you see that a lot,
Yeah.
with kids and stuff.
She has the genetics to kind of ride it out. Let's be honest, though. She's dying, too. Just
We're all
not
dying.
as quickly as... Well, I mean, she's not going to live to be 100.
Yeah.
But she's just not dying as fast as her poor son, who's like going to die at 30 if she doesn't do something.
Yeah. You gotta stop eating chicken.
Yeah, so I really should lose the extra person that I have. Quit smoking, get up once in a while, go for a walk, right?
Oh, what?
Stop drinking sodas. I know that's your
Yeah, I don't
Achilles
know.
heel.
No, I don't
Sodas.
drink a lot of I drink diet sodas
Those aren't
sometimes.
good for you.
I know. I stopped. Every time I get a diet soda, I think of you now
Lecturing
chastising me.
you.
And so
Good.
I actually, honestly, I stopped drinking diet soda,
Good.
and it actually makes a big difference. Like I feel a lot better.
Yeah, totally.
It
I used
was hurting me.
it
Like I was
was.
causing all sorts of digestive, just weird stuff. And
Right.
I realized, you just think, well, it's a diet soda. Who cares? Big deal. It's just a thing. But carbonation and all that, I don't know what's in that stuff.
No, seriously, there's some crazy chemicals in that stuff. It's not healthy. And I'm really bummed out that you didn't tell me so I could say I told you so.
Well, I
But
would never admit that.
I'm glad to hear now that you're feeling better.
That was that was it. That was the key to life. I found it, the fountain of
Quitting
youth.
diet
Don't
soda.
drink that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
Drink water.
I may have an autoimmune disease because of that. I don't know. I used to drink so much diet soda.
Really?
I think that
Well, my
whatever
wife
you
does too, and she has
yeah,
autoimmune problems, and I've been
whatever
trying to tell
you
her get off
get,
of it.
yeah, you have to quit that shit. That stuff, I mean, it's bad for your brain, it's bad for your gut. Like it's
Yeah.
just really nasty stuff. And when I was a teenager, I probably drank 5 or 6 Diet Cokes a day,
Wow.
cans of Diet Coke.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
not.
I stopped one day because like I realized that my hands were shaking
Oh,
from the caffeine from it, I
yeah, yeah.
guess. So I quit. But anyway,
Cold turkey, and see, we're like total rebels. Like, you watch these shows about these musicians that the band broke up because one guy was on heroin and PCP and amphetamines and was drinking. We're just like, we were on Diet Coke. Like we're
Diet
real.
Coke was killing us. That's how
We
weak
should
we
do a
are.
behind the scenes
Like,
on our show.
but this is how weak my constitution is. I never would have been a drug addict because I can't handle it. And
Oh, I
that
know, me too. I don't see how they could get by like for 1 month doing that.
yeah, and I'm dead serious about that. Like everybody got drunk as a kid. I did too, you know. And I hated it. I hated every minute of it because I feel so sick from drinking too much.
I
It's
felt
not
great while I was
worth it.
drunk. It was just afterwards, it was the worst.
For me, like I would get really nauseated and sick pretty fast, and then I would so I didn't have fun. It wasn't
Oh, it's
fun.
immediate for you?
Yeah, like my body just does not like alcohol.
Hmm.
So it's good. I mean, I never drank to
Different
excess.
kinds, like beer or hard liquor or
Hard
both?
liquor is easier for me.
Yeah, me too. I can't
Yeah.
drink as much. I'm like allergic to it.
Yeah. So
I hit the hard stuff.
I enjoy like 1 or 2 drinks.
What about wine? Are you okay on wine?
I can do a couple. Yeah, I can do a little wine, but it can make me a little bit sleepy.
Well,
I
yeah,
think it
man.
makes
It's like
everybody a
cough
little
syrup.
sleepy. Yeah.
Well, that's why people drink it. It's a
Why? To go to
sedative.
bed?
Yeah, a lot of people drink before they go to bed.
Yeah. So,
That was anti-anxiety, that was the antidepressants. Now when I see these shows or movies, you notice how in old movies, every time they go anywhere, it's like, do you want to drink?
yeah,
And,
everybody's
and everyone
drinking.
has the platter in their
Now they're
office,
on
and
these
they're all drinking.
SSRs or whatever they're called.
Well, yeah, because we don't drink. And I realized like all my relatives and everything, they were all essentially like
Drunk.
function alcoholics.
Yeah.
And it was because that was the way to take the edge
Self-medicating.
off in those days. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
were anxious or depressed or whatever, it's just like everyone was drinking. That was how you did it.
Right. Well, yeah. So I was never really at any risk for being any kind of addict or
You smoked
partying
though
too
at one
much.
time, didn't
I
you?
did smoke. I was a smoker for a while, and I wish I'd never done that. That was a real life limiter, I think.
Hmm.
But I hope that I never experience any, like, I hope I don't end up with anything lung related. But if I do, I'm going to be like, that's from smoking, you know?
Yeah.
I quit that when I realized too, like, that's going to kill me. I just thought, I'm going to die from this. And so I
Yeah.
quit it. Like I knew it was killing me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
No,
There's something about, yeah, the nicotine though. It's so good.
it is good. Well,
But
health people right now are experimenting with that. Like they're experimenting with nicotine gum and patches and stuff as a stimulant.
yeah.
Rob Wolf, the big paleo guru, Tim Ferriss, like everybody's talking about these things.
Well, what about the vaping? I mean, because is the problem with smoking more the byproducts
Yes,
of
I think it is.
the tar, the
Yeah, I
ash and
don't think
tar
it's
and
the
all this?
nicotine. I think it's the
So,
crap, the sticky stuff.
so I have to inject a little bit of levity into the conversation. Can I tell you the story about what happened yesterday?
Yes.
Because this is kind of funny. So now you have some really serious stuff going on. This is the serious problem I had yesterday in my life.
Okay.
I get a text from my wife, call me right effing now.
Uh-oh. And
And I'm
you're
like, oh
thinking,
man.
what'd I do? Leave the toilet seat up?
Well, a friend telling the story to a friend. He's like, "Did you find your porn stash?" I'm like, "No, that's all on the cloud." So,
Watch
just
out
kidding.
because the FBI can get the cloud now.
That's right. Apple just turns it over.
Right.
But no, I thought like there was a medical emergency or something. She goes, "There's a guy at the door threatening or talking to our son is 12, and they're threatening to arrest me or something like this, right?" So what happened was,
What?
so this is so crazy. So my kid's in band, like in his elementary school band, and we rented these bells because he's a percussionist,
Okay.
and it's under my wife's name. So I guess the credit card expired on these bells, and they
Okay.
weren't getting paid. So I think they tried to email her or something. They said they tried to email her or
Maybe they called
um,
her. You know how she doesn't answer her phone.
yeah, they tried calling her. She probably didn't answer it because it looked like a telemarket or something. So doorbell rings. I'm not home. There's a dude at the door, asked to see a parent. She was in the other room or in the shower or something. So my 12-year-old is like, no, they're not available. And he's like, well, are you so and so? My son. And he's
How
like, yeah.
dare
And
they?
and he goes, this is the hard part of my job, but um, you have a bell kit that's being considered theft, stolen property right now, and we can arrest your mom. I can call the
Oh
sheriff's department right
my
now and have your
God.
mom arrested. And he's telling this to a 12-year-old. So basically, this was a bell kit repo man. And you think, well,
You
what
like
we all
those bells that you borrowed from us, huh? You like those
exactly.
bells?
So,
Jimmy, you gotta pay for those bells.
so you like those bells, huh, kid? You think they're pretty fun? Give me those bells, like what? So, and you think, well, what do these things cost? Like
How dare they
$8,000 or
talk to a
something?
child like that?
So I call and I'm like, well, how much do we owe? $180.
No, $180. And he's like, I could arrest your mom?
Yes. Like, and so my kid's traumatized. My wife's like, they're threatening to arrest me. Who in the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. So I call the music place. I'm like, what is going on? You have some, and the guy is being very like, yes, okay, your balance is so and so. And of course, I want to kill this guy. So I'm like, really, dude? Like, I would love for him to have called the sheriff and said, yeah, these people owe $180 for these bells and their card expired.
Right.
Like, come here and arrest them. So he was
That's
just
insane.
obviously just trying to scare my kid, which is just beyond the pale.
So much
Local
beyond the
music
pale.
shop sends out its instrument repo man. Have you ever heard of this? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think that sounds like a good article for your local paper.
it does. I'm thinking about taking this to another level just because I'm outraged
Yeah,
by
why
it.
not? Actually, you could write a really funny piece about that, and publish that. That would be hilarious.
And so me and my son had watched a show called Airplane Repo where they go and,
Well, at
someone
least your
bought a
kid was
six,
familiar with
a,
the concept.
oh, he knows, this guy knows repo. This kid knows repo. But these are like $6 million Learjets and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is bells. We're thinking like, is he going to go for the drumsticks too? Or
I'm
It was
gonna,
unbelievable.
yeah, I'm gonna take the drumsticks for the vig.
Yeah, exactly. We got the juices still rolling on this, kiddo. You like those sticks? So
What do you got to pay for the interest?
yeah, I see you got some doilies on your table there, and you got some nice cushions and a couch. It was just unbelievable that this guy showed up. But so I was thinking, I went home yesterday. My wife's like, "Yeah, I'm stressed out from this today," and I'm thinking, like, you're just telling us about your hospital situation. I'm like, yeah, this was the stress. This was our
That's
stress issue.
funny. That's pretty funny. I would write a really funny thing and submit that to your local paper.
Bell Repo, man.
Yeah.
This has got to be a movie. Could you imagine this guy?
Local music store
Like
sends out Repo Man for
you know,
$180 bells.
like that bounty hunter guy with the long mullet.
Yeah.
You know how they had a show about
Did you
him,
take a
and
picture of this guy, this Repo guy?
they should make a show about him, like this dangerous world of the suburban Bell
You know that
Repo.
flute you
Bell.
took out last week? You think that stuff just grows on trees, huh?
Right, right. You,
You think we're kidding around with that flute, huh?
you like that tuba, huh? You think that's pretty fun, huh? Makes a lot of sounds.
You better be polishing that tuba real shiny, kid.
You want mommy to take a trip down to the knick-knack, huh? Jeez.
That is too funny, Doug.
Oh my God.
I like that story. Bell
Yeah,
Repo Man. Music
yeah, this
store
is-
repo.
Who's doing that?
Music
Like,
store repo.
I could just see the owner of this music store just got so fed up with like parents like not paying for their kids' instruments or
He
something. He's
hired
like,
his
"That's
cousin Lenny.
it." Yeah. Hey, I got a job for you.
Yeah,
then the guy's
he's
like, "Yeah,
Mr.
I wanna do
Calm.
that."
He's Mr. Music Store guy, the usual guy with the long bony fingers who has no expressions, just plays piano. That's how he expresses himself.
Right.
And
Right.
but he has a cousin Lenny.
I mean, yeah, I don't handle the business side.
Yeah.
I just play the instruments. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously I'm not very good at going after people for debts, and it's really piling up. I better get my cousin Lenny involved.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. I think it's funny that someone took that job too. Like,
Yeah.
would you want to do that every day?
This is the part of the job I hate.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, "No, this is the part of the job
Now,
I
kid,
hate.
I'm about to threaten your mother.
I'm threatening.
I don't do it because I
12-year-old.
like it.
Yeah.
I'm not threatening your mother because I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong.
It's just
So
business.
funny.
It's not personal.
That's great.
I like your mom.
That's a great story. Tales of Green Bay with Doug.
Yes, small town America. So what are we going to do on this podcast? do
Speaking
you
of
think?
small town America, I had to go to the ER. So I go online and I look up hospital ratings, within 25 miles of me. And it's C, C, C.
Oh,
Like all these really crappy hospitals.
so they're not grading on a curve.
I mean, these are like the things, and then you look at the things that they're actually rating for. It's like death from, something left in the body during surgery. It's like infectious disease contraction.
Hygiene.
Hygiene, and just like giving the wrong medicine. It's like all these pretty serious consequences. So there's this one hospital that had an A rating. So it was 45-minute drive from me, and I went there. Like, it was really far, but like, screw that. I'm not.
I remember the George Carlin joke. I think it was George Carlin who said, "Somewhere in America right now, the worst doctor in America is about to go into an appointment," right? Because someone is the worst doctor,
Someone is the worst doctor.
and they're about to see a patient right now.
And think about that. It most likely is a bell curve. So there's really a whole bunch of doctors that are really terrible.
Oh,
out there.
I'm as I get older, when you're younger, I think you put doctors on a pedestal. They're usually older and they're wiser and they know what they're doing. But as I'm getting older now and I'm seeing some of these clowns, you can tell when it's a good doctor and when it's not.
Yeah, I know
And
immediately.
And
I know
I've run into some real
immediately.
losers.
Yeah.
Really? What do
Yeah.
you look for?
With all of my experience, I know immediately. Immediately.
They don't really
And
listen to what you're talking about.
they
They just
never
start.
listen. They're defensive. They look like insecure people who need to throw their weight around. That's how they look. And in one way or another, they throw their weight around. Different personalities, but power hungry people.
Well, I was getting a medical testing thing done that where you have to be put under, and this is a few weeks ago, and I was expecting, you want the doctor when he comes in to, it's like big guy, looks like Mike Brady or something like that, or Dr. Marcus Welby, the erudite, middle-aged, professorial looking guy, So I'm sitting there and this nurse comes in and it's like a guy nurse and he's really little and he's got like a mullet, but it's a perm mullet. And I'm like, man,
You lost confidence.
who is this guy? And they go, Doug, this is the doctor that will be
Oh
doing your procedure.
no. Oh no. And you
It's like, oh
immediately lost
shit.
confidence.
He looked like a guy that plays pan flute at like one of those art fest things,
Yes.
like a Greek, like East European Yanni type guy, with
Oh
like
no.
long flowing mane of perm curls,
Yeah.
but he was one of the weirdest looking guys I've ever seen. But
When you're in the hospital, every day you get a different doctor. It's just there's like a doctor on
whoever's on
staff.
call, yeah.
And so I think it was my last day. I got this doctor who I knew in like seconds that I wouldn't do anything he told me to do. Like, and he was really assertive and he was sort of like coming into the room and he wasn't listening to me and he was just talking and being super affable,
Uh-huh.
but in kind of a
Manipulative way.
bullying way. It felt very like
Oh,
aggressive.
ugh,
And
so
like
weird.
my significant other was there and he happened to be wearing a plaid shirt and the guy says, "What do you hunt? Are you going hunting?" Just
Huh?
kind of little jabs like that. Like he's going to sort of put the man in the room down to make sure that man knows that he's the biggest man.
Yeah, he's like the alpha male, like asserting his
Yeah, it was like a
dominance.
peacock, and Mark's like just kind of like, "Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I'm not going hunting."
Here we go.
He's got no problems being the bigger guy, So he
Uh-huh.
doesn't even bother. And he put the nurse down. The nurse was standing there. He's like, "I knew her when she was just a little baby. I just can't believe it was only 2 years ago. She was just a little baby."
What?
Yeah, I was like,
Why would he say that?
he's just put down the woman in the room. Like he just made her, and the
Oh
look
my,
on her face was mortification.
wow.
Yeah, and she was young, but so like a nurse right out of nursing school, and he's calling her a little baby, and
Oh,
yeah, just a dick.
damn,
And
that's
then
amazing.
so I was getting discharged, and
He should have
he,
taken his pants off. Just said, "Look at this.
yeah, just show me your penis. I should have just said, "Hey,
Look at it."
can we just see your penis and get it over with?" Just show,
Yeah.
you
Put it on
want
the
to.
table.
You
Put it on
know
the
you
table,
want to.
dude.
Just put it out there. Let's see it. I've got a
Jeez.
ruler right here on my phone. It's an app.
Take a pic. We'll
Got a ruler
take a
app. Get that going. So I'm getting checked out and he comes in and he says, "Here's your diagnosis." Like I haven't even talked to the cardiologist yet who's done my angiogram, but she's cleared me, no heart disease, you can leave the hospital. And I still don't know I know that my arteries are spasming, but I don't know what the name of that diagnosis is, so I can Google it. Like I don't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he comes in to tell me that information. And he's sort of telling me, and he hands me this like 50 pages printed out and stapled with this diagnosis on it. And he leaves and I read it and it's like, this isn't me.
Oh
This is
no.
not what this doesn't make any sense to what I was experiencing. Like the symptoms weren't even close. Yeah. And so I said to the nurse, I'm like, I am not leaving until I speak to the cardiologist directly. So that probably also made me uncooperative. I had to put my foot down and say, I'm not leaving until I talk to them.
Uncooperative means you care about your health.
Yeah, right. So finally, she called me and I told her what the guy had given me and she was pissed.
Really?
She's like, that is not your diagnosis. And
wow.
She's like, I don't know why he gave that to you. So, I mean, you know a bad doctor when you see one. And
yeah, just
trust your instincts. And always get a second opinion from those people. Terrible. Anyway, I'm out now, but I'm a little overwhelmed with my life because of this. And I have a bunch of doctors and a bunch of stuff going on. So I also, I don't know, Doug, is the news getting worse?
I think it's getting more vacuous.
Yes.
Meaning, I used to think that it was real life and death stuff, and now I'm just seeing it as a complete and utter clown show distraction.
Total waste of time. I mean, they don't report on anything substantive. I found myself clicking on stories that are like, so-and-so was on such and such's podcast, and they said such and such about some other podcast and personality that somebody who writes for some other place. And it's like, why do I even give a shit? Why am I getting sucked into this weird drama, this crazy high school type
it's almost
drama?
like
SJW stuff.
It's sort of like Beverly Hills 90210. The high school has suddenly transformed into our national political scene where everything is just like a high school drama conflict. So-and-so said this and so-and-so said this. Well, what about him?
It's literally a reality show where they're trying to sort of gin up controversy that isn't there. I just look at the Covington thing. In what world is, let's just say that the original story was true. 16-year-old boy gets all up in the face of an American Indian man for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In Washington.
Who cares?
Oh my gosh, let's make that national news. What? People get in people's faces all the time in every nook and cranny of this country.
Yeah.
How is that even newsworthy at all, let alone the ginormous scandal that it became? And the only reason I ended up caring about it was because of what it was saying about our culture. But
think of the kind of stuff you saw as a kid or growing up or even 10 years ago, just random stuff in the street, somewhere man being prick in fast food restaurant.
Yes, that's exactly what it's
a
like.
National story.
Yeah. The latest one, Liam Neeson was an asshole for a week 50 years ago.
Right.
That's the latest story today, today.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? Did you hear about Liam? So Liam Neeson, the actor, was in an interview and he was telling a story about how easy it is to kind of go nuts and be violent and be sort of tribal.
Yeah.
He said some time ago, and this may have been before he was famous or whatever, he had a very, very close friend who had been raped by a black guy. And he spent a week after that just in a state of kind of rage where he was walking around with a little billy club hoping a black man would pick a fight with him so he could kill him.
Yeah.
So he made that comment in an interview where he was talking about how reprehensible that was. He's talking about how bad that was.
Yeah.
And as a result, his movie premiere has been canceled. And
oh my God.
Yes.
We gotta stop.
I know, right?
Gotta stop.
So this is the latest news. I can't care. I just can't care about this stuff.
And now there's a headline about this guy named Pecker who's got dick pics of Bezos or something. I'm like, this is the headline? This is what we're doing now?
Yeah.
A guy named Pecker has dick pics. I mean, it's just...
I don't care. I don't care if Jeff Bezos sent a dick pic and it got leaked. I don't care.
Right.
I mean, it's also with
stop
that.
Sending dick pics, by the way.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Who want Have you ever desired a
Do you
dick
need to
pic?
be
Like I ask women
told to
this.
stop sending dick pics?
Like what? I mean, even if you're a woman and you really like that, I mean, do you really want to see pictures of it? I mean,
No, as a woman, I'm going to tell you something.
it's not a
I know
beautiful instrument.
this is going to be a revelation. Women do not like dick pics. So if you
Just for
think that
all
they
the men,
like,
for all the aspiring dick pickers out
yeah,
there.
if you think they like oh no, my lady likes no, she does not. She doesn't like it. She's
It's like a
faking.
necessary evil, isn't it?
Is it necessary? Why is it
It's not anymore.
necessary? I'm just saying,
And they
like
have,
men probably, because they're visual, they think, oh, I'm going to send my lady a dick pic. It's going to be
yeah, 'cause
super
she thinks
sexy.
like me.
She does not
She just
think like
she just wants
you.
to see a she just wants to see a picture of it.
Yeah. No, she doesn't want to see that unless it's, up close and personal and it's happening. But otherwise, forget it. It's not something she wants to see.
No, it's
Don't
not.
do
It's
it.
not a bit like if you'd have to really question yourself if you believed in intelligent design. If if you believe in intelligent design and you look at the penis, you have to start questioning your belief system because it
It's,
doesn't look intelligent
here's
and
the
it's
thing.
not beautiful.
Here's the
Like
thing about the penis. You're lucky women aren't visual,
right,
right? We're
we
not
would have died
visual.
out
We
a
don't
long time
care that
ago.
it's ugly. Do you know what I
It's just
mean?
like it's like this tube. I
But
mean,
but we don't care and don't send us a picture.
right.
It just doesn't
Don't
do
do
anything
it.
for us. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, don't send those out. But anyway, it's none of my business. If Jeff Bezos's dick pic has been leaked, I don't want to look at it, you know? It's none of my business.
Yeah, and I don't care enough about Jeff Bezos to
Yeah.
care what he does in his personal life or with his wife or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I use Amazon. Like, I don't care. Anything past that, I don't really care about Jeff Bezos.
Right. He's ruining Whole Foods. But other than that, I don't care.
Is that right? I haven't been to one in a long time.
It's not, well, I wouldn't say ruining it. He's changing it. It's not the same.
Hmm.
So,
So it's
but
more
it's something
expensive.
else, and maybe that something else will be better in time. But it's not Whole
It's
Foods
not worse.
anymore.
It's just different. That's what you're saying.
I think it's going through a transition, which makes it kind of worse right now, but I don't think that it will be permanently worse. It's transitioning from a high-end specialty grocery store to a regular grocery store.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah.
that was the whole point.
Yeah, but I mean, he just wanted to buy a grocery store and convert it into like an online, like he's playing with he's going to do something with it that's kind of extraordinary, I'm sure, where the goal I think is that you walk in and there are no there are no people that work at the cash register. You put your stuff in the cart, the store knows who you are and what you're buying and charges you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a smart store.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty cool. But, that's not the mission of Whole Foods. Whole Foods had a completely different mission. So I think he just bought it because it was like a grocery store chain that was for sale. That was kind of boutique-y that he could sort of, implement his plan with. But they've added, non-organic stuff now, and they're just moving into the regular grocery. So
Gross. Yeah.
yeah.
We don't want that. That's why we went to
Yeah, there's a
the whole
reason
re-
we went
I
to
kind
Whole
of
Foods.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one here now. There's another place, but it's just nice to go to those stores sometimes. I just enjoy looking at good food and all this stuff. And it's just kind of an interesting, like, I kind of want to get out of my house. Like, I don't send a drone with all the groceries. I kind of want to go to the grocery store sometime.
Right.
Don't you?
Yeah, and
Don't we
especially
want to
nice
leave our
grocery
houses?
stores. Like those big
Yeah.
kind of obnoxious grocery stores aren't very fun. But
No.
going to a nice specialty grocery store is pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
It smells good.
Right.
Yeah. Flowers and, healthy nuts and just all kinds of yummy things. Yep. So what I was going to say was that I'm going to take some time off. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's changed. I was going to take some time off, but you talked me out of it.
By the way, you're kind of like breaking up with the audience. You're like, I just want to take some. We're not breaking up. I just want to take some time off.
Yeah, except you talked me out of it. So instead of breaking up, we're just going to change our relationship a little bit.
We're just friends now with the audience.
We're going from romantic to friends. You guys can handle that, right?
Yeah. Don't you just want to be friends?
So in this new relationship, we're just going to not talk about the news because my goal was, or what I was telling you is, I don't want to read the news every day. I'm sick of it. I need a break. It's negative. It's too much drama. It's too much digging to get to the real news. And it's a lot of effort. And it's kind of, a lot of it is sort of outrage. It's geared toward, and no, it triggers me for sure. I'm not immune to being triggered, to having my outrage triggered. And so I just need a break from that. And I want to read books and do other things. And
so we're going to talk about like life affirming, like fun stuff, entertaining stuff, things that are going on.
Oh, I thought we were turning this into a meditation show.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I preempt your... we're going to do
sit
mantras.
Down and close your eyes and take in a
water,
deep breath.
The rain.
You were going to play bells, remember?
I can't play the bells no more.
Your 12-year-old was going to play the bells.
That's over.
No, so yeah, I'm not going to read the news. I'm going to take a news moratorium, and is that the right word? And I'm going to you and I are just going to talk about whatever we're doing and what we're thinking about related to our families, or I'm planning to read books. So probably I'll talk to you about what I'm reading. You and
I have conversations all the time about life stuff.
Yeah.
About kids, about your career, like what, the things you went through growing up, and, all this stuff is like really interesting and relevant. And there's there's some takeaways from all that stuff. Right. And then you're reading stuff, or we're watching things or that are cultural or whatever. And that's more about life, not just the latest outrage.
Right.
So we got to take a break from the outrage.
So we're taking an outrage break, and I hope that you'll stay with us. If not, I don't know, pay attention to where do I put out announcements? Not on my website. I suppose pay attention to, I'm mostly on Facebook, but I guess Twitter too, where I'll say something when we get back into news, which we will. I'm obsessed with news, and I also I'm interested in what's happening in the world and talking about that. I think there's some really important things going on, but everybody needs a mental health break from it, I think, sometimes. So we're going to take it, and we're going to take you with us rather than just leave you cold.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because then, if we go away for a month or two, I think everyone might just go away.
They'll just forget about us.
And we have so much great, awesome, fun stuff to talk about all the time.
Right.
That why don't we just do that instead of...
Yeah, Doug's been begging me for over a year to talk about this thing that he has where he has 5 categories of women.
Ooh.
And he claims that every woman fits into these 5 categories somehow. You can be 2 categories at once, right?
Oh, yeah, you can be multiple categories.
You can be multiple categories, but there are no more than 5 categories.
Right.
Yeah. And he's been begging me to talk about it. I've said no.
So
no way.
Now she's scraping the bottom of the barrel.
But now we'll talk about it.
Well, I had my 5 categories of movies, my categories of women. I actually
Did you do 5 categories of men? Okay, but I don't think you're as confident in that one as you are in the one with the women.
The women I'm very confident in.
Right. Because you've been tested on that for years. You've been tested on those 5 categories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone know, and a lot of my friends know them, and they use the terms. They're like, "Oh, she's a whatever."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, exactly."
No, you've told me this a few years ago. You told it to me, and I do also use those terms. So there's definitely something true in there, and we'll do a show about that. We'll do a show about what we're reading, what we're watching, just stuff like that, and just life and family, and hopefully it'll be fun and entertaining still.
It's going
So,
to be way more entertaining.
yeah, Doug thinks it's going to be a better show. But I like politics, but we'll get back into it maybe in a month, 2 months. And the other thing I wanted to say is we're probably not going to release every week. We'll probably release maybe every week, maybe every other week, just because we're not going to do it unless we have something to say. Do you want to hear a joke, Doug, before we get off here? Because we have some jokes on the voicemail that have built up over the weeks here.
Yeah.
Joke Man has called in 3 jokes. Here we go.
That guy's prolific.
Here we go.
Hey, Sonny, joke for you. 2 women are talking in the park. First says, see this new diamond ring? My husband just bought that for me. The second one says, oh, that's nice. That's really, really nice. Friend continues, see that shiny new car parked over there? My husband bought that for me. The second one says, oh, that's nice. That's really, really nice. First one says, and you know that big house up on the hill? My husband's going to buy that for me. Second friend says,
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Hang on.
that's nice. That's really, really nice. First one says, oh, I'm sorry. Here I've been going on all about myself. Tell me what you've been up to. Friend says, well, I just...
Oh, darn it. I'm really having a hard time here.
My husband
Ugh.
says, oh, that's not... Here I've been going on all about myself. Tell me what you've been up to. Friend says, well, I just completed a course in politeness. First one asks, a course in politeness? Why would you spend time on that? Her friend says, well, because I used to say, well, who gives a damn? But now I say, oh, that's nice. That's really, really nice. Hey, I hope you get out of the hospital soon. Bye.
That was a long joke.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another one.
Hey, Sonny, hope you're feeling better. Here's a joke for you. Woman woke up with a start one morning. Her husband asked her, what's the matter? She said, I just woke up from a dream where you gave me a diamond necklace for Valentine's Day. What do you think it means? He said, you'll know tonight, dear. That evening, he came home with a small package and gave it to his wife. Delighted, she opened it up. It was a book titled The Meaning of Dreams. Bye.
Okay. That's pretty funny. Okay, so I'm going to read one that is on from our elite squad. A driver was stuck in a traffic jam on the highway outside Washington, D.C. Nothing was moving. Suddenly, a man knocks on the window. The driver rolls down the window and asks, what's going on? Terrorists have kidnapped the entire U.S. Congress and they're asking for a $100 million ransom. Otherwise, they're going to douse them all in gasoline and set them on fire. We're going from car to car collecting donations. The driver says, how much is everyone giving on an average? The man says, roughly a gallon. You get it?
Yeah, good.
That was good.
Can I read this one?
Yeah.
Are you going to read this one?
No, go ahead.
It was on Elite Squad.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's called After 20 Years of Marriage. A couple was lying in bed one evening when the wife felt her husband begin to fondle her in ways he hadn't in quite some time. It almost tickled as his fingers started at her neck and then began moving down past the small of her back. He then caressed her shoulders and neck, slowly worked his hand down over her breasts, stopping just over her lower stomach. He then proceeded to place his hand on her left inner arm, caressed past the side of her breast again, working down her side, passed gently over her buttock and down her leg to her calf. Then he proceeded up her inner thigh, stopping just at the uppermost portion of her leg. He continued in the same manner on her right side, then suddenly stopped, rolled over, and started to watch the TV. As she had become quite aroused by this caressing, she asked in a loving voice, "That was wonderful. Why did you stop?" He said, "I found the remote."
What? Now I'm picturing someone with a lot of fat folds. Ew.
Nice.
It was nice.
I laughed at that one.
Gross.
That was good.
All right, well, that's it for our show today. Any final thoughts, Doug?
Nope.
All right,
Be
so
well.
so thank
Be
you,
better.
and we'll see you the next show, which will be about who knows what, some crazy life stuff. See you
Yeah,
then.
man.
Thanks for listening to the House of Sunny podcast. Go check out Sunny on YouTube at her channel, House of Sunny. Everything Sunny does is fan-funded, and because she's likely to get kicked off and demonetized on every platform at some point, please support her over at patreon.com/House of Sunny. Become one of Sunny's elite squad and have access to behind-the-scenes footage, t-shirts, special events, and more.